Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and thanks for coming back. Today I have the end of the month wrap up for you. So we're going to be wrapping up September's books that I read. I read 15 books. I had 7 5-star books, 7 4-star books, and 1 3-star book. 5 stars were The Assistant by Camille Perry, The One to Watch by Kate Stayman London, A Man Called Uwe by Frederick Bachman, Spanos by Kit Frick, Necessary Lies by Diane Chamberlain, A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCreight, American Marriage by Tayori Jones. So the first book that I'm going to talk about is going to be The Assistant, and this book is by Camille Perry, and this is a 5-star book that I read. This book is about the assistants. So it was a group of women who, I don't want to say too much because I could easily give up the plot. One of these girls was an assistant, and she was an assistant of the highest paying level person in this corporate job. And she did personal reimbursements for him. So anytime he went and did something full work, he brought his receipts to her. And at the end of the month, she would tally it all to another assistant, and then they would cut a check and reimburse him for everything that he spent. So she has a lot of student loans. So she cuts a huge check for a bunch of reimbursements that her boss had did, and it was $100,000 or something. So what possesses her to do it, I don't know, but she just deposits that money into her bank account, and she cuts a check to the loan school and pays off her loan. She thinks that this man makes so much money that this isn't even going to be a drop in the bucket for him. It's not even going to faze him that he's lost $100,000. So it kind of just starts a domino effect. It's a fantastic book. I absolutely loved it. Through it really fast. I think I might have read through it in one day. But I kind of just liked the scheme of the story. I loved it. So that was a good one. Next book was The One to Watch, and I talked about this one a little bit. This was about a plus-size girl, and she was going to be on a show called The Main Squeeze, and it's like The Bachelorette, except they had never done anything like this before because she was a plus-size Instagram influencer. So she had a big following of people, which is one of the reasons that she was able to get the spot for The Main Squeeze. So all the guys that she sees and who's there to just use her and who's there to just get TV time, she's concerned that she's not going to be able to find love because she's not what society says a woman should look like. She's heavier, more curves. So are these guys who are drop dead gorgeous going to really fall in love with her? I love the book because B had so much confidence in her body, but it's funny. This was a really good book too, and I think that might be something you're interested in picking up. It was a really fun read. The second book is called A Man Called Uwe, and these are the book that were meaningful to me. This book we picked for book club. I have had it on my shelf for, I don't know, a year or two to read, and I hadn't read it. So when book club, I knew I would pull it out and I would read it. I think I devoured this book in 2 days. It's not a thick book. No, it's not a thick book. You can see that. But this book was such a good book. When I first started reading it a long time ago, I probably got to chapter 2 and then I put the book away because the beginning of the book was just like about a grouchy man who nobody could make him happy. A book about grieving, about loss, about loneliness, about feeling like you have no one in the world or no reason to be in the world. It's about suicide. It's about love. It's about true friendships. It is very heartfelt. Uwe, and he is an elderly man, and his wife has passed, but it makes it seem like she's there, but she has passed. He just doesn't want to give up that she's gone, so he kind of still lives his life like she's there. And these people move into the neighborhood, and he has a certain way of doing things. Every single day there's certain things that he has to do, and he doesn't like people to mess those things up. But these neighbors move into the neighborhood, and they need him. They need him, and they want him, and they want his friendship. So these people teach him what friendship's about. This is such a fantastic book. You will cry. You will laugh at the way that he acts, but I think everybody should read this book. It teaches you how to be, how you should be on an everyday basis. I loved it. Excited to see what everybody else thought about it. The picture up here on the top, and I Killed Zoe Spanos. This book, I had the book and the audio. I will 100% recommend you listen to this as an audio book or an Audible. This is a YA thriller book, lengthy book. It's, I'd say, anywhere from 300 to 350 pages maybe. This book is about a young girl named Zoe Spanos. She's gone. And then there's a girl who comes in and takes a summer babysitting job. But there's another girl who, I think her name is Megan. I don't have the book, so I think her name is Megan, and she does a podcast. And she was best friends with Zoe's sister. So she wants to find out who killed her best friend's sister, Zoe. So she starts a podcast on it, and she goes through all the detail of all the reports that she already has. And this young girl that's coming in to do the summer babysitting job looks a lot like Zoe Spanos. And she starts having memories, and she thinks that she knows her, and she thinks that she killed her. So in the Audible, it's fantastic. As you're listening to the Audible, they podcast just like it's a podcast. You would think that you're listening to a podcast, and then the story starts reading like a story. So you can tell the difference where the podcast is on and then where the book is reading like the book. 5-star book. I absolutely loved it. Another 5-star book was Necessary Lies. I absolutely love Diane Chamberlain. I've told you this before. The book is about, her name is Jane, and she is a social worker, or she's going to be a social worker. She's gone to school. She wants to become a social worker. She's married this really prestigious doctor, and the story takes place in 1960. So in 1960, women didn't work, or they didn't have to work if they had a husband who had a good position or a good occupation. The husband just took care of them. It was kind of expected. But this lady wants to make a path for herself, and so she goes and she gets a job as a social worker. And they live in North Carolina, and it's out in the sticks, and so she has to see these certain families every week, and she either helps them with money, or she helps them get food, or she helps them get clothing, whatever their needs are at this time. But in this 1960 North Carolina, they have a program that is targeted towards the poor, and it's a sterilization program. So it doesn't matter what age you are, boy or girl. It's not specific to gender. But one of the girls of one of the families that she's taking care of, one of the girls gets pregnant when she's 15 years old, and they sterilize her, and they tell her that she had her appendix taken out, so she thinks that she had surgery. They never told her that she was sterilized. So this sister, her name's Ivy, is the sister of the 16-year-old that gets pregnant. Well, now they're concerned about her getting pregnant, so they start bringing her condoms and giving her all kinds of stuff and telling her, don't have sex. If you have sex, make sure you wear these condoms. Well, the girl has already been seeing somebody, but they're not educated, so she doesn't know that she could get pregnant from having sex. She thinks her boyfriend does not finish sex with her, she will not get pregnant. But the social worker wants to save the girl from being sterilized. This book was so good. Very good book. Marriage by Kimberly McFreight. This book looks so sweet, doesn't it? Just the cover of it. Just the picture of it, you can say, maybe something's twisted about the book, but it looks sweet for the most part. This is a thriller, and it is a very good thriller. And she gets a call late at night from an old classmate that she had in college with. And he is being accused of killing his wife. She is not a criminal lawyer. She's a family lawyer, but he wants her to take his case. He begs her to please take his case. Nobody can get him off this murder charge but her. So she takes the case, and the story is crazy. Her life and the Zach's life, which is the Zach who is the accused murderer, their lives intertwine in the murder of his wife. Very good, very good. Kind of picked it up. This has been on my shelf for a long time also. I'm trying to get my to be read books that I've had on my shelf for a long time, and I've kind of stopped buying books so that I can catch up with some of the old ones, because I have a lot. I have a shelf that is just a TBR. Just picked this up because it had been sitting on my shelf for, I don't know, 3 years or so, and I hadn't read it. This book is about Celestial and Roy. They get married, and they're on their like a little retreat for themselves after they've been married. They've been married for right at a year. This is a young black couple. And when they're on their retreat, the husband, Roy, gets accused of raping somebody who was staying in the hotel with them. Well, Celestial knows that her husband did not rape the girl because she was with him all night long. And they had talked well up into the early hours of the morning, so she knew he was innocent. But in those days, it was guilty until proven innocent, and he was a young black man, so the way they portrayed in the book, he had to have done it. So, plot of this story is, can their love survive such a young marriage? They're a young couple. Is their marriage strong enough to get through him being innocent and put in prison? While he gets thrown in prison, her uncle is trying to get him out of jail. She comes for money. He does not, but he does make a good living before he gets put in jail. And so another person, one of her kindergarten friends, or it just sounds like they were friends since infancy, comes into the picture. And she kind of has to choose between the two of them. Really, really good book. I wasn't expecting it. I thought it was something completely different, but I was genuinely surprised at how good it was. That is it. That is it for my 5-star books. So let's see. I'm going to go over my 4-star books also. Next book was called Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating, and that's by Christina Lauren, and I'll post a picture right here. And it was a 4. This was just a really cute romantic love story. Something light to read, quick and easy. I love Christina Lauren. She does such sweet love stories. Super sweet story. Now, The Roanoke Girls by Amy Engel. I closed this book and I didn't know whether to score it a 5-star or a 4-star. And the reason being was because the story was so twisted. It was a very good book. It kept me turning the pages. The first time I opened the book, I read more than half of it in one night. I think I went to bed at like 2 o'clock in the morning that night because I couldn't put the book away. And then the next morning I got up and I was ready to read the book again. I think I finished it that next day. But the book was about the Roanoke girls, and it was a line of girls who were from a mom and a dad, of course, but the mom and the dad were Roanokes, and the dad had only girls. But where the story is twisted is it's kind of like the bloodlines in Europe or in England, where they wanted to keep their bloodline pure, like back in Victorian days where they married their cousins. This story is kind of like that. So the reason I didn't score it as a 5 was because the subject was twisted. It was like, I can't even tell you what it was about. You'll have to read the book if you want to read it. It's not bad or anything, but it is a twisted subject. And it's a line of girls who are Roanokes. So I don't know. Maybe you can kind of figure it out. Maybe you can't. Anyway, I liked the storyline. I thought it was a good twist to a book, but it was such a weird subject that I was like, there's no way I can score that a 5. I would typically not read anything like that. I would have shied away from it, but I read it. So with that being said, pick it up if you want to. The next one was Pretending to Dance by Diane Chamberlain. And this is about a young girl and a husband who are married. They can't have children. She wants to adopt a child. And this just kind of goes into past and present. So she goes back into the past when she was a young girl. And she lives her life where her dad is telling her some stuff about her childhood that she hasn't come to terms with as an adult. So the storyline is past and present in her perspective. Very, very good book. I loved it. Intercepted by Alexa Martin. I don't have the book because I got it from the library. I'll just post the picture right up here. This was just a little fun, very short book. It's called Intercepted, so it tells you it's about football. And it's about a girl who gets in a relationship with the football player. He does her dirty. She swears on everything that she's never going to date another football player. But it's kind of a love story. It's a rom-com, romantic comedy. Super cute. Finding Audrey. I'll post a picture here because I got it from the library. And it is by Sophia Kinsella. And this was about a young girl who had very bad anxiety. And some stuff happened to her when she was in school. So she got to a point where she couldn't go to school no more. She wore dark glasses all the time, thinking the dark glasses were hiding her. But she was a teenager. And she meets this young guy who helps her become more comfortable with herself, and he helps her work through the anxiety. Super cute little, that was a YA book as well, a young adult. Super cute, just sweet. I don't want to say it was a love story because there were like love story parts in it, but it was more like he was just kind of helping her work through the stress and the anxieties that she had. He helped her be able to get out into the world again. So Han, and this is part of To All the Boys I Loved Before, P.S. I Love You. He's got a series of them. It's 3 of them. So it's a really good love story, and it's about a young Korean girl and YA again. And anyway, I hope you're doing great. I hope this video finds you in good health. Please hit the like button. It helps my view. Thank you so much for coming and watching the video. And I will see you when I see you. Have a good one.